is the Cover 3 Tailgate. And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fernelli. That's Danny Cannell. That's Bud Elliott. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live at youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcasts on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, aka the Cover 3 Tailgate, where we've got conversation about the max ability maybe to crash the college football playoff, some conversations about the Big 12 as a whole, but a quarterback specific comment from our friend Coach K. DK, I want to throw this your way first. Are these running quarterbacks, and they mentioned John Mateer, Jackson Arnold, Devin Dampier, going to be out of gas towards the end of the year with how many carries they are taking?
I don't know. But if you would have included Haynes King in this list after his opener in their opening win, you would have said maybe not, because he ran it a ton against Colorado and then he missed last week. And it was a late scratch for me that I didn't see coming. I do think it's a concern. I think it's something to keep an eye on. But it's funny because the Ravens were playing last night. I've had this thought for a while. I give credit to the Baltimore Ravens for starting this trend because Lamar Jackson is a weapon as a runner. And instead of when they drafted him saying, well, we're going to make him a pocket passer, we're going to try to make him something he's not, they said, no, it's football. It's a dangerous game. We're going to take our risk. We're going to use him as that weapon. And if he gets hurt, so be it. And I think more teams are taking that approach. And even Mateer after said that +1 run game, when you have to defend the quarterback as a runner, it puts the defense in such a bind. I think it's a trend that the game is going where it's not a luxury to have a quarterback who can run. It's a requirement to have a quarterback who can run. I do think it's a great point to make, but I think a lot of teams are taking on this risk, and you just have to say, you know what? It's a physical sport. We're going to take our risk. We want to win as many games as possible while we have them out there. And so I think it's something interesting to keep an eye on.
Tom?
Bud, what's going on with Bud?
I don't know. Bud's glitching out over there.
This is weird.
I mean, I think, and God, this is going to get people mad, but I don't think it's as big of a deal for Devin Dampier as it is for Jackson Arnold and John Mateer.
Is that because of the offensive lines?
Partially, but it's also because of the opponents.
Oh, I know. No one should get mad at you for that.
I mean, I think John Mateer and Jackson Arnold having to do it week after week against like SEC defenses is different than Devin Dampier, who will be doing it against Big 12 defenses for the most part, because there is a difference in the physical nature of them, not the ability to play football, just in the physical nature of them. So I don't think you want your quarterback running that often to begin with, no matter who you are, but I don't think it's as big of a deal for Dampier. But I also think that's kind of what Dampier is. If you're Mateer and Arnold, that's who they've been. But I also feel like you thought that they were going to be a bit more in the passing attack. And Mateer so far has been much better than Arnold in that department, but even he still has mistakes. And I think Dampier's been better than Arnold in that aspect too. So yeah, if I'm Auburn and I have those receivers, I probably want to use Jackson Arnold as a thrower more.
I also think there's the element of, like, are you worried about them running so much because of what it says about your running game when the quarterback's not doing it? On the flip side, in the NIL and rev share era, if you're a runner, I'm paying you to run, man.
Oh,
like that you are here to run the ball as a running quarterback. I don't really give a damn about this NFL stuff for some of these guys. Like that. That's what the money's for, like Don Draper said. So run. 19 carries for Mateer. He still has eight SEC games to play. Like that would be concerning for sure. I feel like Dampier gets out of bounds a lot.
Yes.
Oh, like he's smarter. Like he's
untouched. How many of these carries do you think he's actually been tackled?
Not many.
Right. Mateer embraces some contact.
And he's pretty big. I mean, he's a pretty durable dude.
He's thick.
Yeah.
Not in the haunch area, but just thick.
Not in the haunches. No, that's That's a
Bear
different
Bachmeier. Yeah.
I mean, we see running backs all the time go through a season, 1,500-yard rushers, and they're fine. Now their body type's different, but I think teams are just kind of not worried as much. And like Bud said, I think it's a great point. You're paying them all that money. We're not worried about NFL development in the pass game. We want you to put the most points on the board, and whoever that is, so be it. And I think it's the right decision. I think I would be doing it too.
We have a lot here in Monday's show. It's one of our favorites because we are going to check in with the markets. That's right. Day trading Danny making a return. We'll be having our brilliantly boring wins of the week. Our hymn of the week will go under the hood in upon further review. But with Sunday giving us a new AP top 25, that means it is time to check in with our friend. That's right. It's him. It is where is it? Thank you, Mikey, the Pole Assassin. Okay, new AP Top 25 released on Sunday. We've got still Ohio State holding in at number 1, Penn State at number 2, LSU at number 3. We saw the opportunity for Oregon to move up after absolutely thumping Oklahoma State. They did, jumping up to number 4 in the poll. You've obviously got some big time moves down. Michigan falls after the loss to Oklahoma, but Arizona State, Florida, and SMU all fall all the way out of the rankings entirely. Missouri gets in, Auburn gets in, and of course USF makes its appearance at number 18. Pretty close to where I think we had it for tomorrow's top 25 today. Thoughts either about the rankings consensus, individual ballots, what stood out from the new top 25?
11 SEC teams out of 16, and you can argue there should be a 12th. Because if South Carolina is 11th, you can argue why the hell isn't Vanderbilt ranked?
Totally agree.
I think Vanderbilt should absolutely be ranked. I mean, they went to Virginia Tech and killed them, whereas South Carolina needed a kickoff return to win that game for that. I don't really get like why Michigan and South Carolina are ranked based on what they've done so far this year.
Ooh,
personally,
yeah.
Like in comparison, Vandy's been better. I think like there are probably a number of Big Ten teams who look a little more impressive. Like why is USC has looked better than Michigan?
Yeah.
Like, if Oklahoma doesn't fumble that punt, Michigan's getting run off the field.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we doing here with that? Utah at 20 is kind of crazy. I don't think Ole Miss should be ranked at all. Like Kentucky was awful last year. Kentucky showed no signs of not being awful so far. That's just just name brand value here, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, but at 17 at this point in the year, if Ole Miss was in the South Carolina position, a little bit further up, I could take more take more of an issue with it. If Arkansas beats Ole Miss this weekend, they're out. So, they're at least in that. They're on the chopping block. 17's firmly a chopping block spot.
And if they beat Arkansas, then shoot, man, Chip, they're going to have 2 wins over non-bowl teams. You might want to think about putting them in top 10. This could be.
I still think the voters do it all wrong. I don't think they pay attention to what they're supposed to do. If South Florida had a Nittany Lion on the side of their helmet, or if they had a Florida State Seminole on the side of their helmet, if they had an Ohio State Buckeye on the side of their helmet, they would be top 5. I still don't think the pollsters give enough credit for what you actually see during the season and building up resumes and forgetting everything you thought you knew in the offseason. I don't think they're giving South Florida enough credit for what they've done. And I'm sure if you say, well, they can go to Miami and beat them, like then I think clearly they would make another significant jump. But like if they lose, then knock them back down. Like they're supposed to be really, really volatile if you're doing them right, where each week as you get more information, you should hop them around a lot. I still don't think South Florida is getting the respect they deserve.
Why is Texas Tech ranked and TCU and USC not?
Because Texas Tech spent a lot of money to get that ranking.
Yeah, a lot of off-season stories.
So it's Shahan Jayaraj's fault. That's why Texas Tech is ranked. Blame Shahan. He wrote that story, and now everybody likes Texas Tech.
There's a Sprouts in Lubbock? A Sprouts?
All right, why is Texas Tech ranked and not Nebraska? I don't even think Nebraska's great, but Nebraska ragdolled a bad MAC team over the weekend, and they also have a much better win over like at least a competent athletic Cincinnati team than anything Tech has. I'm not trying to pick on Texas Tech here. I just am not really sure logically how some of these make sense.
Well, all right. So
if we're basing it based on like what they've shown on the field this year a little bit.
Your TCU argument is better. TCU is only 1-0, but they've got a road win against a power conference team. Texas Tech is one of several teams that is 2-0 with 0 power conference wins.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just a win. They blew them out. They embarrassed North Carolina. And like, see, I think Ryan puts in there. Now, is that good or bad? I don't know what Ryan's trying to say. TCU was 9-4 last year. We're not even supposed to consider last year. You're supposed to forget about everything you know, especially in today's game with so much turnover on rosters. Like, they should be out the window.
In a year with great uncertainty, this still looks really bad from the AP. And I'm usually not like, oh, the AP, like bang on the AP poll guy, or at least I try not to be. But like, keep it in the state of Texas. You've had 2 pretty crappy teams move the ball on A&M so far.
Do not disrespect Broncos big bad boys in front of me. I will.
You do it behind our
do it behind my back,
not in front of us.
Yeah, come on.
Like the teams that have the real gripes to me, USC and TCU.
Yeah,
should be ranked.
But an argument for USC would be they still haven't played a power conference team.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. Well, we got it. Yes, Tom.
I have a fun little thing about a team that didn't finish in the rankings this week.
All right.
I'm gonna read off a list of AP voters, and I want you guys to try to tell me what they have in common this week. Henry Greenstein, Craig Stevenson, Jordan McPherson, Josh Furlong, Chad Bishop, Pete Yanity, Brian Howell, Mike Hill, and Steven Johnson. What do those gentlemen all have in common?
They are men.
They had Florida over USF?
No,
there was only one.
Good guess, though.
And that was a she.
Yeah. No, these fine gentlemen all have SMU remaining on their ballots this week. But not only do they have them ahead of Baylor, they don't have Baylor ranked at all.
Come on.
Wow.
So if SMU is still ranked even after a loss to Baylor, but you took Baylor out of your poll because it lost to Auburn, I need to know what you're doing besides just moving teams down as you scroll through the box scores on whatever website you so choose. Now, I assume some of you listen to this show. I'm guessing most of you don't, because you don't really seem to show any interest in college football as much as you just like being able to say that you have a ballot on the poll. But I would really appreciate it if all of you could let us know why SMU remained on your ballot despite losing to a team that you don't believe deserves to be on your ballot. Thank you.
Okay, so I think I figured it out. Like SMU, they didn't finish the game. They must have just changed channels when SMU had a
They won.
Yeah, had a 2-touchdown lead with 8 and change left. And they were like, oh, yeah, SMU's got this. No chance they give up 2 explosive plays and then cork it double OT as well. So they must have just moved on to another game and just, like SMU, didn't finish the job.
Well, they had to move on to the NFL rankings where they have Baltimore as first place in the AFC.
Maybe that explains why Vanderbilt isn't ranked. Maybe a lot of them just 2010 halftime score. They thought, Vanderbilt's old Vanderbilt laying an egg, and then stick around for the 34-0 beatdown in the second half.
Listen, I'm not saying that polls shouldn't exist. I think polls are fun. I think they generate discussion, and I think they give us all something to talk about. But I think a lot of the people voting in these polls do not actually watch college football. They just watch a game or two every week. Then they fill out their ballot at the end of the night, and then they go look at whatever the ballot was last week, whatever the rest of the voters all thought, and just go from there.
Well, that's why we have Poll Assassin.
Yeah, that's why we don't need to get rid of polls.
We're just
need to revolutionize who we use to compile them.
No, I believe
just
that
us four.
Change. I believe that they can change. If you can change and I can change, then we all can change, as Ivan Drago famously said. So I think that we're just holding a higher standard. So if you just had your name called out, that's okay. Come on back next week. Bring a new look on the pollsters.
The standard is please watch the games. Like that's all we're asking them to do.
What they try to do is they try to get voters from all across the country to have a sample representation of everywhere. I think one of the biggest problems that they have is they go to beat writers. And if you're a beat writer, you can't spend your Saturday watching every single game. You have to watch the team you cover. And
For your
then after
job.
that game, you have to go do the press conferences. You have to do interviews. You have to do all that. Then you have to go sit and you have to write your stories. You don't have time to watch everything. So I think that they need to reevaluate who they have doing these polls.
That literally, that's the reason I don't go to many games, because the Saturday show suffers. Right? We can pull it off if one of us is at a game, but you really got to have two guys at home or in the office with a bunch of screens if you want to do. Which, by the way, thank you all for getting us number 6 in the country in the sports podcast. It's like NFL, pro wrestling, fantasy football. Look, gotta rep the college game here for us. But yeah, like if you're on a beat, man, you're there like at least 90 minutes before kickoff. You're probably down in the field talking to some guys you haven't seen. Like you're gathering info. You're watching warm-ups. You're seeing who dressed, who didn't dress. Like you're probably running social as well for whatever newspaper or whatever beat you work for. If you're someone who does recruiting, like you're probably outside of the stadium for like hours in advance, seeing who shows up, taking photos for that. Doing that kind of deal, and then you're not getting out of the facility for a 7:00 game until. Like they're gonna kick you out of the press box like 11:30, 12, but like you may not even be done by that time. So it's difficult.
Hey, listen, we're trying to hold a high standard. We can't get bogged down in complaining about the poll.
All right,
but
Tom, how many names? Just 6, 7 names you just rattled off. Like if there's a one-off, I mean, you listed a lot of names that did not like. That's pretty egregious.
That is.
Like there was the one girl who was going viral because she had Florida ranked and South Florida unranked. I'll give one pass. Like maybe she didn't watch, maybe she missed it. I was a voter at ESPN. Like sometimes you just forget, like you just blank out on one and you saw it. You just, whenever you submit it, you were in a hurry. But to have that many names, that's pretty, it shows you how dumb this poll is. And to some people saying, nope, AP doesn't matter. I do think it matters because it does create perception as the season goes along when they're going to hear a whole lot about 11 SEC teams ranked. You will hear that throughout the entire season when they're making the push for the playoffs and they're trying to pump in 6 or 7 teams in the playoff.
Yeah, for the first half of the season, those numbers next to the teams that they use to convince you to watch the games on television, those are the AP rankings. They have a huge influence because for casual fans or anybody, they see that 12 next to a team. They assume that team must be really good.
Yep.
It's fair.
All right. Coming up on the other side, the market is open. We got to check in with Day Trading Danny. Buys, sells, holds, stocks we're watching and more. Next.
Name's Conrad Harrigan, family man. And if you cross my family, well, you'd better pray.
Mobland, new series streaming March 30th on Paramount Plus.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast, we have a tried and true market expert here on the Cover 3 podcast. It's always good to check the stock of our favorite college football teams, players, and storylines. So let's check in with Day Trading Danny.
All right, let's kick it off. This is a QB stock exchange version because we're doing all QBs. And I will say, sometimes you get advised by different people. I've been meeting with Fornelli advisors quite a bit, been taking some of his advice, some of his newsletters that have been published. And I will say he's been pretty spot on about some of these. So some of these are impacted by Fornelli advisors. One, my biggest buy that I could possibly make would be to snatch up all the Sawyer Robertson I can get. And Fornelli's been talking about this for quite a while. I think he's the best quarterback in the country. I don't know what his final record is going to be because Baylor's defense is a sieve and they have major issues. But if there was a quarterback out there that you said, I want from start to finish, no matter what the score is, the guy's got all the skill set that you want. What he did on the road, bringing his team back from behind, never looked rattled. He's got a cannon for an arm. Sawyer Robertson, 429 yards per game with 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, leading his team from a come behind and against an SEC defense in week 1, 393 yards. But just watched all that game, he looked like the best quarterback in the country. In the end, Somebody else may win the Heisman. Somebody else may have a team that's better. But for me, he's the best quarterback in college football.
I'm going to say a sentence here, Danny, that would have sounded very like normal, but maybe 10 years ago, but out of place for the last 2 or 3. Having a really veteran guy at quarterback can help.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
because now that not everyone has one, it really stands out.
Yes, it does. It
Yeah,
absolutely does.
I mean, it's early, but it is like you look at the stats. He's averaging 429.5 yards passing per game. In second place is Darian Mensah at 361. So he's basically throwing 70 yards more per game than anybody else in the country. But I also think that is a testament to the game situation Baylor has found itself in a couple of times, but also B, Baylor does not seem to have much faith in their run game. So they're just like, Sawyer, save us.
Yep.
And he's doing a very good job of it.
Yes. He's 60-1. Like, if I like long shots to throw a couple bucks on him to see if it hits. I don't know. Like, if they're 9-3, I think he's got a chance. 8-4, we've seen that kind of be the line of demarcation. But if he puts up these numbers and they're 9-3, and maybe in the Big 12 championship, which I don't think is crazy to think, considering how that conference is kind of wide open, I think it's worth a flyer to take it.
There's cash out potential there. Like, maybe you don't expect it to win, but you hope that in a month from now you're getting some money offered.
Getting some money back, a little 3x your investment. I mean, look at that. The firm's already given out great plays right from the jump. Sawyer Robertson, love that.
Yeah. So in the next one, now this is one where Fornelli Advisors, he's been just pounding the table on this one, and I feel like he's been Steve Carell in The Big Short when he's trying to tell everybody, like, what's happening? Like, why don't you guys see this? Why do you not see this with your own eyes? And this one pains me. This one pains me because I've been a big defender. I'm selling my Cade Klubnik stock.
Mm-hmm.
He's still going to be fine. I think they could still win the ACC. But I am selling my Heisman stock. I'm selling my national championship stock, probably most importantly. I was never a big believer that Cade Klubnik was going to be an NFL guy. Like, when I saw him showing up on top 10 mock drafts, like, I don't know about that, but I still think he could be a great college quarterback who could win a national championship. I'm selling that stock in Cade Klubnik, that he can be there. And even to hear Dabo kind of call him out and say our QB needs to play better. And I get that Antonio Williams is best wide receivers out. They don't have a run game, but if anything, that just kind of has exposed Cade Klubnik as a player that needs a lot of good weapons around him. And if you look historically, when Clemson has won the national championship, they've had a difference maker. Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson. That's why and I didn't pick them to win the national championship. I thought they could get there. I think they're a playoff team, and that's about it.
Yeah. They're not better.
I've always been like really, bucketing the praise and also like the skepticism for Cade. Like to your credit, you've always been like, hey, like, he doesn't have the look of like a big time NFL guy physically. He's more of a college guy. And maybe last year is what he is. Like, he doesn't have an extra gear to get to.
We all know how I feel about Cade. I will say, just watching it a little closer, and I'm not defending him, but I feel like there is an entire host of problems going on in that offense. I feel like the inability to get anything going on the ground is letting defenses just kind of pin their ears back, and it's really overwhelming an offensive line that I do not think is good enough to protect him. And he's not getting a lot of time, but he's also taking too much time, and I just don't see a lot of great I just think the offense as a whole is in a very bad place, and it's only been 2 games, so there's a chance for them to get out of it as the season goes along. But one of the problems is Troy was supposed to be a game where you were able to figure things out, and they didn't. Furman is on the schedule. That's supposed to be the other kind of game where you can figure things out, but that's not until the very end of November before the South Carolina game. Like, they get Georgia Tech this week. ACC play is coming at them right now. So I don't know, man. It could be not like a disastrous season, but like we could be looking at it 8-4 Clemson.
Well, they are better. They have better wide receivers than what DJU had, but they don't have the ground game. And like, you take it back. Let's see if I can do this. Andre Ellington, Wayne Gallman, Travis Etienne, Will Shipley, Phil Maffa. Like, they have had, I don't know if they were all 1,000-yard rushers, but they have had dudes basically all throughout the Clemson run of being at the top of the ACC.
CJ Spiller.
I mean, throw it all the way back
to the very start of the run. Yeah.
Yeah, the very beginning of it.
And did you guys see the one-handed catch by Nuke Hopkins last night for the touchdown?
Yep.
That's what Clemson used to have at receiver.
Yep.
They don't have that
And
anymore.
Watkins.
And like we've hyped up a lot of the guys that they've gotten, but they haven't had anything near that in a long time. Like Hunter Renfrow has been, and not a shot at Hunter Renfrow, who was very good, but that's the best receiver they've had in years. And it's like that can't be where if you want to be where you were winning national titles.
I mean, yeah, Mike Williams, T. Higgins, like it, yeah. And look, I still think that we could be watching on Sunday and TJ Moore and Bryant Wesco are catching touchdown passes and are like top fantasy football picks. But the problem, to your point, is that if a defense doesn't respect the run game, then the offensive line gets overwhelmed. Then Cade is running for his life. And then he is going to look even worse because he has been at his best when they have a talent and schematic advantage. And then he can just light the world on fire. But all of these times that he's had, like Danny, the way that you coined it, the deer in the headlights look, it's always been off schedule, long situations, and he just doesn't always meet the moment except against Pitt, and that's not it. You're not playing Pitt. Sorry, Corey in the tailgate. You're not playing Pitt in the college football playoff. Any of our assumptions that Clemson's going to be making it a game or two into the college football playoff are going to require something that we just haven't seen so far from the Tigers.
Maybe it's a panic sell. Maybe he'll win me back and I'll buy some more later in the season. But right now, I got to sell my kid Klubnik. There's another quarterback who I would have doubled down, and I probably did this past after week 1. And I even guaranteed that he would have a better pass performance from week 1 and week 2. And he did. He doubled his passing yardage. But I'm selling my Mark Gronowski QB stock.
I'm sorry, actually, that stock has been delisted.
I mean, we talked to Kurt Ferentz and he had a gleam in his eye. He's like, I finally got a guy. And I was like, yes, let's go. Make me look good. My man. I mean, I've seen high school quarterbacks with more pocket awareness than the lack of a sense of urgency. Like every quarterback has to have an internal clock where when you have to get rid of the football. He's working with a sundial. Like you just got to speed it up a little bit. And then even in the run game, I'm like, will you protect yourself? He's kind of just running a little bit timid. I'm like, this is big boy football. This isn't the FCS anymore. And if they throw one more out route on the outside and it's like and it's a far hash throw, which you need, like even Josh Allen, it'd be a risky throw with him. And they kept going to him and they did get the interception, which led to Iowa State's touchdown. They took, I think, 1 or 2 shots where they actually threw it down the field. The receiver's an issue. They've got to find a weapon there. But my man, Mark Gronowski, I'm a little bit worried, was overhyped by yours truly. So I'm selling the stock.
I'm buying. This is
You're buying
stock.
low?
This
he looked
is
a little better
stock.
in the second half.
Listen, you are just ignoring returns right now. You are just throwing money away. He went from 2.9 yards per attempt against Albany to 3.5 yards per attempt against Iowa State. That is a 20% growth in 1 week. And you tell me you want to throw that stock away? Not me. Give me 1 million shares for $10 right now.
He could be league average by Halloween then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to be retiring off of Mark Gronowski getting to 4.7 yards per attempt by the end of the season.
Yep. All right, I got 2 more. I got a buy and I have a hold. I'm buying Dante Moore.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's a game where you win 69-3 and it looks pretty easy, but he looks really comfortable in that system. He looks like he knows exactly where to go with the football. And I'm buying Oregon as a Big Ten champion candidate to go back-to-back. They look to be the real deal. I think they found a quarterback. I think the year off did him wonders when he could go out. And you know who else gives him wonders? To be able to have that type of talent. I heard you. So the Mekhi Hughes stuff. Is Dan Lanning just saying we're so good we don't need him that much? Is that what he's saying?
According to our Richard Johnson, not the one in the tailgate, it's that he's having trouble adapting to the offense because he went from they ran a different kind of zone scheme at Tulane to what they're running at Oregon, and he's having trouble adapting to it. Now,
which watch out when he gets comfortable because there's another weapon that he'll be able to work with. So I'm buying Dante Moore, buying the Ducks, which I had him as a playoff team already, but I think now from what we saw across the Big Ten, I think they should be right in the conversation to win the Big Ten. Speaking of, I have another Big Ten quarterback. I am holding on to my Drew Aller stock. I think
Woo!
some people may want to sell it.
Yeah.
It wasn't great versus FIU, even early. It's like, what happened to all those wide receivers that they got? He didn't look great in that game. I'm going to chalk it up to them. I think they're kind of playing with their food a little bit. I think they're not, the intensity level isn't there. I mean, what he needs is what happened to Dan Lanning, some coach to call him out and say, oh, they've got all the talent. They're spending too much. It's an unfair advantage. Something to wake them up. Unfortunately for them, I think that wake-up call only comes when they actually play an opponent. So I'm not that concerned about Drew Aller yet. But I will say, who's the quarterback, the wide receiver who's looked really good this year, who didn't do any? Wallace?
Oh,
Right?
Harrison Wallace.
Harrison Wallace is out there making big plays now when he wasn't last year. Mildly concerning, but I'm holding on to my Drew Aller stock for now.
To your playing with the food, I am concerned because that first real test is going to be against Oregon.
Right.
And Oregon has all of the rhythm of a team that's not playing with its food. So, like, are you just going to be all of a sudden be able to ramp up and meet them? Now you're going to be playing at home. They're going to have to fly across the country. You've got a lot of intangibles that are going to help Penn State. But right now, Oregon will have had more hours and days operating close to peak efficiency than Penn State will have unless they turn things around pretty quickly.
I think I'm in on Dante Moore as like at least pretty good. I'm with Danny on that. I will say there is kind of like a boiling point theory. Like just it acts different when you have different level of competition. To his credit, the ball's been really accurate. It's been on time. The guys, like, it's a catchable ball. They're able to run with it after the catch. There's a lot of fairly easy stuff schemed up. He only has 2 big time throws on the entire season as graded by PFF. Like the best kids in the country right now have like 6, 7, 8, 9. So he hasn't had to execute many, if any, challenging throws. The first guy is almost always open. I think Will Stein's a great OC for Oregon. And I think it's impressive that he's doing this now with a quarterback who's not like 24, like Bo Nix or Dylan Gabriel were. But we don't know if some of those easy access throws are going to be available against Penn State in like quite the abundance that they have been against an FCS team and then against kind of a zombie Oklahoma State team. So like that I would still like to see. I also like the no sacks thing. I mean, like he is not just – he's clearly seeing it. The ball's out on time. If he's got to hold it and pat it a little bit, is he going to the second guy? This is kind of the Sellers thing right now too, right? Like, we saw what Tech did. We saw, honestly, like South Carolina State. Who's the guy? Reed for ESPN pointed this out again over the weekend. Like, hey, it's like the Lenora Sellers throw the ball in the middle of the field challenge, and just he reads 1, skips over 2, throws right to 3, which is just a little kind of worthless check down. So we'll see how Moore does when stuff's less open.
Holding Drew Aller. All right, there we go. Market's closed. We'll check back in with Day Trade and Danny in next week. And now it's time for the brilliantly boring wins of the week, brought to you by PNC Bank, where we highlight the boring actions that make the biggest difference. Slow and steady isn't just a saying, it's a proven strategy. Consistent, deliberate financial decisions help build a strong financial foundation and lead to the most meaningful wins. There's no need to chase risky ventures or fall for quick fixes. At PNC Bank, they help you keep your money simple and stable so that you can live with confidence that your future is on solid ground. And now I wanted to highlight a team that didn't have a boring point total, but probably was doing the small things well to be able to change their results. That is the Indiana Hoosiers, 56-9 winners against Kennesaw State. Fernando Mendoza threw for 4 touchdowns in the victory. Tom Fornelli, you called Indiana having a good bounce back after leaving it on the table. What were some of the small things that you think Indiana did well to get better results?
They just finished drives, Chip. They knew who they were once they got to the red zone, and they made sure not to try to do too much. They took what was there. They kept it simple, and they were able to finish their drives for touchdowns this week, unlike in their first game of the season where they dominated their opponent, but they didn't look like it on the scoreboard because of so. But this one, Indiana did everything right. They didn't make mistakes, and they scored 56 points because of it in an easy win.
You get opportunities, you cash them in for the full amount, doing the small things well. That's what we love, and that's why Indiana has our brilliantly boring wins of the week. And those were the brilliantly boring wins of the week, brought to you by PNC Bank. Brilliantly boring since 1865. Brilliantly boring since 1865 is a service mark of the PNC Financial Services Group, Inc. PNC Bank, National Association, member FDIC. All right. Now, there was one quarterback that we did not hear from, at least in terms of the DK market analysis, but I did want to make sure that he was celebrated, because now it's time for the Hymn of the Week, sponsored by producer Jordan Peele's upcoming sports horror film, Him, only in theaters September 19th. And our Hymn of the Week is John Mateer. John Mateer had 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1 through the air, helped Oklahoma get out to a big lead, and the defense helped nurse it the rest of the way. He was running like a madman. He was throwing off platform. He was getting it all. And dare I say, we've got the next incarnation of a Moxie player. Moxie McSorley to Moxie Mayfield to Moxie Mateer. The guy just absolutely has it. Danny, what did you make of John Mateer stepping up and answering the moment against Michigan?
First of all, I'm a little bit disappointed you didn't have the Him player of the week as Martin Luther Staub. I mean, that could have been just the perfect tie in there.
Yeah.
But for Moneyline Mateer, I love him. He is a roller coaster to watch. I mean, it's a little bit of a wild ride because you don't know what you're going to get. He sees a lot of throws that, he's not intimidated to make. He's very, very, he's a weapon as a runner. Little bit concerned about some of the off-platform stuff, little sidearm stuff, kind of loses some of that accuracy. But I think, and this is such a big difference, and we've seen this and we've always known this, but more so than ever because of the parity, you've got to have a guy, like a dude at quarterback, and that's how you describe him. I mean, I loved his post-game interview with Holly Rowe. He was giving everybody else credit. He was thanking the fans for not booing when he had an interception, crediting his offensive lineman. I mean, he's a smart guy as well as being an incredible football player. I think he's easily, one of those guys easy to root for. I think it's going to be interesting to watch his development through the season.
100%. Congratulations on the big win, and congratulations to John Mateer for being our Hymn of the Week. And that was the Hymn of the Week, sponsored by the upcoming film Him. Producer Jordan Peele invites you to football, sports, and horror, the football, sports, and horror event of the season, which asks the question, what are you willing to sacrifice? See Him, only in theaters September 19th. Coming up on the other side, we go under the hood. It is a chance to clean out the notebook from week 2. It's upon further review and more.
Next.
Get ready.
Wait a second. I thought we were going tubing.
All 3 Sonic the Hedgehog movies and Knuckles are now streaming on Paramount Plus.
And everyone loves it.
Every adventure,
Just try to keep up.
every face-off,
This ends now.
and every moment that will have you saying,
Where have you been? My entire life!
It's showtime.
all 3 Sonic the Hedgehog movies and the entire Sonic universe are now streaming on Paramount Plus.
Back here on the Cover 3 podcast tailgate. We appreciate you. We got some things to do. We got checklists. Now it's time to go under the hood. Every single Monday, more time to look back at the weekend that was before we turn our attention forward. It is upon further review. There were terrible calls. Do we want to go ahead and jump in?
After further review. After further review. After further review.
Back. All right, bud. You've got your eyes set on a top 10 team that got jumped. It got jumped in the AP poll, got jumped in the CBS Sports 136, which is updated and now available on CBSSports.com. They haven't played anybody, but you've got some thoughts on the Georgia Bulldogs and what we can learn from the first 2 weeks of action, especially with the big one on deck against Tennessee.
So I had a Georgia take for last week that I forgot to get off, and I'm kind of glad I forgot now, because my take was essentially, hey, with Lagway not looking amazing against Long Island, right? With Arch maybe not being like that guy right now, for Texas. Although maybe he'll get there. Certainly, we can talk about whether he's hurt or not. A couple more guys in this league not looking at anything special, like Sellers not appearing to have taken any kind of meaningful jump for South Carolina. Right, Alabama looking like they're going for a nice jog on a Saturday in Tallahassee. Georgia just sitting there with an absolute Death Star of a defense and just an upgraded receiving core, and maybe a healthier offensive line and a competent quarterback. Kirby's just going to sit back in the cut and laugh, right? Like, okay, cool. Like everybody theoretically thought they were going to take a jump, and meanwhile, like our best is actually pretty damn good. They rotated a whole lot of offensive linemen on Saturday. I think some of that was because injury. Obviously, Juan Gaston, the stud we talked about in Camp Buzz, thanks to Jordan there at Dogs 247, he was actually injured from the opening game. But having a freshman guard miss the game probably shouldn't make your entire offensive line fall apart against Austin Peay. And if you watch the post game, he doesn't come out and say it, but I can't help but think Kirby Smart's a little bit frustrated with Gunnar Stockton. And I think if Georgia had the Carson Beck that we saw for Miami on this team right now, I think they would be my number one with a bullet. I don't think Stockton looks like a guy through 2 games, just 2 games, plus what we saw in the playoff, which was not anything good. I don't know that Georgia can cash this defense in for a national title unless he takes a real leap. It doesn't look like a quarterback of a top 5 team.
You think he can get there?
I don't know. I don't think he has special tools. So he's got to do all the little things right consistently.
Are we putting any blame at the feet of everyone's favorite coaching candidate, Mike Bobo?
I mean, Stockton is his guy, right? I'm curious that they do have a dude that has tools on that team though in Puglisi.
Yeah,
like that guy throws 100 miles an hour. I am curious to see if he gets any kind of run here at some point. Have you guys peeped the spread on that game yet this weekend?
Drop. Yeah,
it's 4.
Yep.
And that's with Tennessee having both starting corners out, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
If it wasn't for that, I would say dead
Georgia.
under. You know, but with the Tennessee starting corners out and Zachariah Branch, I could see enough explosives being hit there that it's not as easy as just walking and under to the window. But yeah,
it's 2 games. We shouldn't make a huge deal out of it. It's just it's like the stuff we haven't seen yet. Like, all right, well, where is it? When's it coming?
Yeah. They got to find it. He's playing in Knoxville this weekend. Very, 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 very big moment ahead. Can't wait to break that one down on Wednesday's big game breakdown. Tom, where do you want to turn our attention?
So many places. Let's see. Where do I want to start? Upon further review, Duke fans or college football Twitter media types who picked and bet on Duke to win still want you to know that Duke would have won if they hadn't turned the ball over 5 times and made a bunch of coaching mistakes. So I want to be clear, upon further review, Duke still would have won if they had played better than the team that they played against. And Duke would still have won being underdogs this week against the Tulane team they bought their quarterback from. So other than that, they would have won. The other fun thing I want to point out, Oklahoma State in its loss to Oregon on Saturday. Maybe you heard about it. They lost 69-3. They looked fantastic. They averaged an astounding minus 1.15 EPA per dropback in that game. Now, for context,
don't snap the ball. Don't it's just snapping the ball.
Every time Zane Flores dropped back to pass, they lost a point. Pretty much. But it's the worst performance by any offense in a game since 2023 when Army was at minus 1.25 against LSU. But if we take out the service academies, who are not exactly teams built upon dropping back and throwing the football, it is the worst performance since Oregon State was at minus 1.42 EPA per dropback in 2022. And you know who they played in that game? Oregon. So I don't know, man. Something about Oregon's defense makes other quarterbacks really suck hard.
I went through and I enjoyed, week 1, just such a blitz going from Monday night into Tuesday, trying to pack everything in. Don't didn't really have a lot of chance to really go fully under the hood. So I went through yesterday and I started separating teams that are significantly better than what I was expecting coming into the year and teams that are significantly worse. And I kind of was starting at the end. There were some teams that I think, and I wanted to at least, throw this at you guys and see if you agree. I think that Oregon is better than I thought coming into the year. Agree?
Yeah.
Yes, 100%.
Okay, because we were talking about a floor for Oregon. We're like, oh, they're so talented. Like bottom's not gonna fall out, but we could easily see this team fall into 9-3 or 8-4, and I just don't see that whatsoever. Oregon, even coming in, having Oregon as a top 3 team in the Big Ten, they are significantly better than what I had coming into the year.
Because the quarterback.
You think so?
Yeah. He helps to raise that floor because of how on time and how accurate he is.
Mm-hmm.
Significantly better Tennessee.
Disagree.
Yeah, we'll see.
I think Syracuse sucks. Like they needed if Syracuse had played UConn to overtime in week 1, Tennessee would not be receiving the hype that they are now. The order in which the games were played mattered because we had not seen Syracuse play yet. So we were still sort of imputing that 9-win or 10-win season from 24 for Syracuse when in fact, like they lost almost all their good players and I don't think they're any good.
You think Tennessee thinks that they are better than they thought? Like inside that building?
I mean, they're feeling good about themselves for sure, but I don't know. I don't think Tennessee's thinking it's going to go in there and whoop Georgia this week just by showing up or anything.
I will say, last year at this time, Nico was a Heisman favorite. Remember he went in Charlotte and played NC State, and he was lighting them up. I think it's like a little bit tentatively cautious on Joey Aguilar being an upgrade and all this. Like, I think he's looked great, and he's hit a lot of throws, and he's performed well in a system which puts up a lot of points. Kind of curious to see what he does against better competition.
Yep. USC, better than I thought. Another one. Is it the competition, or do you think that USC is better than what you were expecting coming into the season?
I think it's the competition.
I still think USC is like in the conversation for that 4th best Big Ten team.
Agree.
I think they are the 4th best Big Ten team.
How dare
But
you?
Lincoln told us that he thought the stuff that the quarterback had messed up as a young player
find
was
out.
easily correctable, and now I think he looks clean, man.
He looks
But-
really good.
But we earlier in the show,
Indiana over USC.
in the show, the very show you're on, we were talking about how great and accurate the AP poll is. And there are currently 4 teams from the Big Ten in the top 10. Not one of them is USC, bud.
That's fair.
That we will listen. Don't worry, we got USC. We'll have plenty of time to talk about them this week, including a little spotlight on Tuesday's CBS Sports Network show. Okay, who's worse, Kansas State?
Or
Clearly, yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like teams that have gotten significant.
Expectations.
I
no
thought
doubt.
you were like, I thought we were playing
Okay,
like,
so
who's worse, Kansas
This is
State
going
or?
to piss off Iowa State fans, but Iowa State's undefeated, and I think every team they've played so far is going to go way under their win total.
Kansas State, which was one among the top picks on the odds board to win the Big 12, is hoping for a bowl game at this point.
Is Iowa hoping for a bowl game?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
I mean, here's like, I was looking at this because again, I do the vibe check on Saturday nights. Like the Big 12 has 5 wins against Power 4 competition, but they are UCLA, North Carolina, Iowa, SMU, and Stanford. Like outside of SMU, are we confident that any of the other 4 will get to a bowl game?
okay, wait, one more time on that because no.
UCLA,
No.
North Carolina.
Definitely.
I mean, their
Maybe
schedule
their
is
schedule's
so
easy.
yeah.
I mean,
Iowa, I'm kind of whatever on them right now. I think we're all a little
They
skeptical.
did just lose by 3 on the road. Like,
Yeah,
they
but
know
look
how to
like
deal
absolute
with playing
ass.
10 men on offense.
They look like crap. And then Stanford, I think we're all very solidly, they're not getting to a bowl. I feel like SMU is the only one of those 5 where you're like, yeah, they're going.
but SMU's next on my list, a huge downgrade. I know they're still ranked on 9 ballots,
I mean, they're not going to be in the playoff again, but I think
Yeah,
they're still a solid 8-win team.
Are they a downgrade from what we thought they were?
Not to me.
Okay.
Although I will say this, I'm actually working on a post right now on this. Do you want to know who's tied for second in the nation with more turnover-worthy throws than turnover-worthy plays than big-time throws?
Kevin Jennings.
Taco Becht. Oh, damn.
No, it's Kevin Jennings. I don't think, and you can't take anything away from the first one, but there was a lot in the game against Baylor that was alarming. I know we made the joke about blowing the lead, but even if they had won, I might have come back and ratcheted it back a little bit. And I think that it's important for me to frame it where I had them as a top 20 team. I had them as a team that was maybe the third or fourth best in the ACC. And now they are sliding back towards that middle pack of teams. What was it? The ham sandwiches, Danny? Yeah,
Yep.
they are looking a lot more like a ham sandwich than a playoff contender right now. So I've got SMU as a big time downgrade. I've also got Duke as a downgrade.
Now I'll go back to
Duke.
the guy that Tom was interacting with, the Duke fan. The game was closer than the score
I agree.
said. I think Darian Mensah will get better as the season goes on. I think they'll have a better time against some ACC opponents. But I think Duke's probably, did anybody think they were going to be a ACC contender? I think they're probably a 8-win team still.
I think that they are. I find them gravitating back more towards just not being that special. I think Darian Mensah is a talented quarterback. I think they are an average ACC team, and I was thinking that based on the way that they won games last year, they could be an above average ACC team. But it is the coaching mistakes. It was the mistakes on the field, shooting themselves in the foot repeatedly. It's just not. It did not look like winning football. And that's normally how you close the margins at a place like Duke.
How many teams in the ACC would you take over Duke, though?
5 or 6?
Ooh.
I'm taking Clemson, Florida State, Miami.
Yep.
Louisville.
I would take Louisville,
SMU.
even though Louisville did not exactly cover itself in glory against James Madison.
Yeah.
But
And
I would take SMU.
maybe?
So, yeah, I would say
Okay.
those
All right.
5.
Georgia Tech.
No.
You take Duke
I
over
think they're
Georgia?
about the same.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. I think there's kind of that kind of glob of SMU, Louisville, Georgia Tech, Duke.
Big downgrades on UCLA and North Carolina and Oklahoma State. Any arguments with those 3 very big downgrades?
Again, like Danny Sell and Mark Gronowski, UCLA, they allowed pressure on 62.5% of their dropbacks in the opener against Utah, down to 26.1 against UNLV. So only a quarter of the time is Nico being harassed now.
And as I was doing a reassessment of the Tar Heels, we keep saying, but the schedule. And the problem is that North Carolina is the team that everybody else in the ACC wants to play. They are much more like Cal and Wake Forest and Stanford than they are like a team like an NC State or a Duke. So, yeah, they still have it's better than having to have it loaded up with Miami, Florida State, and Clemson. They will play Clemson on October 4th. But I just think that those games that we just sort of circled as, well, look, that's how Belichick gets to 7-8 wins. Those are way more coin flippy. Because this team right now, Charlotte might be one of the worst teams in the FBS.
Yeah.
And North Carolina did enough to win against one of the worst teams in the FBS. Excuse me.
Going back to the Duke thing, though. Sorry, but I was making fun of the Duke fans, and Danny, you said the game was closer than it looked. I talked about in the big game breakdown last week, and I talked about during the Locks pod. Illinois' game plan was going to be to force Darian Mensah to read it, because they thought he would make mistakes if they did. That's what they did, and that's what he did. The 5 turnovers weren't by accident. The muff punt was.
Yeah, the muff punt was for sure. I got one.
All right.
Don't be deceived by a stat line.
Ooh.
Are we worried about Arch Manning? And when I say are we worried about it, because if you look at the stat line, he almost had 300 yards passing. He had 4 touchdowns. I watched a lot of this game early, and then when the score kind of got sideways, stopped watching it. But then you see some of these videos circulating of Arch grimacing and looking like he's laboring while he's throwing. I will say this. When I watched him against Ohio State, I was a little bit concerned about the mechanics. The arm didn't look great. It didn't look extremely strong in that game. And I know he's been an easy, kind of punching bag for the critics of Arch Manning. But early in that game against San Jose State, he did not look comfortable in the pocket. He does not like people around his feet, which no quarterback does, but he was kind of thrown off by it. But I guess more importantly is there something going on with him? Because we found ourselves asking this about Quinn Ewers all last year. It was like, is something going on? And I don't know if it's a similar situation where there's something impacting him, but he does not look 100% when he's throwing the football.
Yeah, he's grimacing when he throws. He got hit pretty good in that Texas game early on, or in the Ohio State game. Yeah,
I don't think so.
he looks hurt.
I don't think he's hurt. I don't know if you guys saw Horns 24/7. They did an investigation.
Oh,
Hank South at Horns 24/7, our great Texas site. If you are a Texas fan and you are not subscribed to the Horns 24/7, you are a bad Texas fan. But he went through a bunch of photos from last year. And you know what Arch Manning is doing in every photo of him throwing?
making a Manning
Grimacing.
face.
Wincing. That's just what he does when he throws the football. That's his Manning face.
I was
He
gonna
looks
say-
like he's in pain in every single one of these photos. Going back to his high school, they've got a photo of him like throwing the ball. I think that's just what he looks like when he throws.
Does he hate football?
It's all the expectations of being a Manning are coming out. Like
I
it's,
know.
he's like, oh, I'm so mad.
The pressures of the moment. I mean, he's being forced to play this sport against his will,
And now Peyton's got his son showing up in promos on Sunday Night Football. Like the Mannings are just, they're bringing out the next one. Arch has struggled for 2 weeks. Time to bring out the new one.
He has still made some really good throws.
Yes.
I'm not real worried about it, other than just like if he is hurt,
I mean,
I tend to lean with he's not hurt, that it was more just he still doesn't look comfortable. And I thought early in the game, especially, there were still some nerves and maybe pressing a little bit where he just didn't look comfortable. Again, he's very young. He's got another 2 weeks. I thought the game in Gainesville, and I still think it will be a crazy environment. And I still think it could provide some problems for him. So we'll see. But he's got 2 more weeks to get that confidence up. And stats will do wonders for your confidence. You start padding stats, and all of a sudden your touchdown to interception ratios 13 or 14 to 1. You start feeling a bit better about yourself.
his on-field post-game interview, Danny, don't know if you caught it, but he's doing all the things that you'd want, because he's not talking about the stats. He's talking about sloppiness and the execution issues and stuff that they still got to clean up. So, he's not letting himself get overtaken even by the little bits of success. He's trying to hold himself to a high standard.
I would say like Marcel Reed tore UTEP apart, and Bud will tell you how badly he sucks. So if Arch Manning can't tear UTEP apart this week, then I think it's time to worry.
You guys ain't right. I'm gonna try to share my screen here.
Oh, be careful.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What do we got on there real quick?
You got to see this. See if Mikey, add that graphic if you can. Is that going to fit on screen?
Oh God. Ben Goldbrin's
Oh,
The
no.
worst crap I've ever seen. What?
If he's
Like, I'm
still
not trying
starting
to-
again. I mean, it was looking dicey, and then he had a pick 6, and I was like, all right, we're back, baby.
What
For those-
are even working with? Like, I'm trying to zoom in on it, guys.
For those
So-
listening who can't see, it is a radar chart showing where Ben Goldbrinson ranks in like percentiles and a whole bunch of stats. And let's just say the stats you want to be outside the top maybe 1 percentile, he's not in any of them.
How far do I have to zoom in to see it? Like, I think they're trolling us here. Like, there's no way there's even little blips on some of these, right? I mean, we're like quad zoom. Okay, so this is all right. You see a little ridge detail here. Like we're doing fingerprint investigations on that. Negative 12.2. Completion percentage over expectation.
Oh.
I've never seen a.
And they've got him dropping back to pass repeatedly. Now I know they were trailing for a lot of the BYU game, but it's like, oh no.
He's a dead average rusher, bro. Look at that 0.0. All right, so we have EPA
This
per play.
is a snuff film. right here.
This is sad.
Yeah. In SFW.
Explosive percentage. God, imagine if you were the DB that allowed the 2.2% explosive percentage.
Getting cooked in film study for sure.
Yeah. What's our 29.3? We can get off this if we need to. I just success percentage. Yeah, we're under a third successful plays. That's remarkable. EPA per pass. That's not surprising.
Chunk further review.
Chunk percentage is low, real low.
Maybe not it.
Upon further review, maybe not. I'm glad you called that out. James Madison whipping Louisville at the line of scrimmage, yes, is maybe concerning for Louisville, but maybe also, maybe we found our darling in the Fun Belt.
That defensive line looks like it's going to give the Sun Belt some problems.
Yeah.
I don't think that was just strictly Louisville. I think that's.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else from the notebook?
Let's see.
All
Nope.
right.
LSU's guard, Braylon Moore, hurt his ankle late in that game against La Tech, and they were already really thin on the offensive line. So,
obviously, very, very big as they play host to the Florida Gators in a bounce back spot. All right. Tomorrow, noon Eastern time, CBS Sports Network will be getting you set for week 3 in the Big Ten. That means some Big Ten big game breakdowns. A lot of teams are going to be heavy favorites here. So we'll put the spotlight. Let's look at Oregon, deeper dive into what's working. Let's look at Ohio State, USC, look at what's really helping those strong starts to the season, a little Julian Sayin grade and so much more. It is Big Ten week 3 getting you set on Tuesday. Yes, Danny?
Did you guys see who's going to be Michigan's interim coach on the sideline this
Biff.
weekend? Biff.
Yeah.
He's got to wear the cutoff, please. The disgusting one with the side boob. Please wear that one.
The TFT is back.
It's
Who's
back.
Arkansas playing?
Arkansas is playing Ole Miss.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we're back. All right, so that'll be on Tuesday, noon Eastern time, CBS Sports Network. Hang out, watch us live. You can get the show on youtube.com/cover3 or wherever you get your podcast. Then Wednesday, we'll be back here at youtube.com/cover3 for a big game breakdown, going inside the matchup of Texas A&M, Notre Dame, Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, LSU, and so much more. Then Thursday, it's locks, and then the week 3 arrives. So come and hang out, youtube.com/cover3, and you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fernelli. You can follow him at Danny Cannell. You can follow him at BudElliott3. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Gentlemen, thank you very much.
Go Bears.
we talk Missouri on Saturday.